Hi, this is Kanaya, and today we're going to talk about what setting boundaries and expectation mean. So, first thing is first, let's talk about setting boundaries. So, setting boundaries is when you stand up for yourself, communicating your needs, or you want, like, what do you need from someone right now? let's let's sit there for a second. So, what do you need from people, or what? So the meaning of what do you need from people can vary depending on context, ranging from the universal human needs for love, respect, and connection to a more specific request for tangible help or emotional support. So that's what you might need from someone who is incapable of giving you respect, right? Because everybody deserves respect and support it, right? Tangible. So tangible something, it simply means something that can't be, well, tangible means, it simply means something that can be touched or felt through. It can be used in metaphorical senses. Tangible assets have a value that can be processed, measured, and tangible grief can be clearly sensed by an onlooker. So let's see. So tangible help or emotional support. In practical sense, it can be a direct question asking for a specific assistance, like helping with moving, or an open-ended invitation for someone to state their needs, such as needing someone to talk to. The phrase can also be used rhetorically to question another person's motive, or to express frustration when they are being unhelpful or demanding. Categories of needs: basic and physical. There are fundamental needs for survival, such as shelter, food, water, and safety. We need all that in life, but we're not talking about this, because this is the basic needs, like shelter, food, water, and safety. Those are basic needs. So I'm just like clarifying the other needs from people, like what expectations do you have from people? Like, what do you expect them to do? That's what I mean. Like, what do you need from people if you feeling like unsupported and stuff like that? So what do you need from people or expect from people to do? So physical, so physical and social, these needs are essential for mental and emotional well-being. Examples including love, connection, respect, recognition, and a sense of community. Personal growth. Personal growth. This involves the drive for self-improvement, learning, and expanding one's own capacities and understanding. Contribution. The need to feel that one is making a positive impact and contributing to the well-being of others. Different uses of the phrase. A genuine offer of support. When someone says, "Call me if you need anything," call me if you need anything, I mean it. They are offering to help with a variety of tasks, whether it's practical help like moving or emotional support during a difficult time. That can make sense because I can deal with emotional support. Well, they can deal with emotional support if they're going through a tough time. A request for clarity. In conversations where one person feels pressure or confused, they may ask, "What do you want from me?" To understand the other person's expectations. A rhetorical question. The phrase can be used sarcastically or defensively when someone is being unhelpful or demanding, implying that there is nothing they can do to please the other person. If it's a logical question on a broader level, the phrase can be used to explore the human condition and the inherent needs that drives people to seek connection, validation, and a sense of purpose from each other. How to respond to the question. If asked directly, state your needs clearly and respectfully, keeping in mind the relationship you have with the person. If the person is a casual acquaintance, keep your request low pressure. If you are asked rhetorically, be aware that the person may be frustrated. It is often best to respond calmly and de-escalating the situation. Try to de-escalate the situation with empathy rather than becoming defensive. If you are the only one asking, consider your own intentions and the potential impact of your question. If you feel pressure or confused, it may be more productive to ask, "Can you help me understand what you're looking for?" Can you help me understand what you're looking for? Rather than asking a blunt question. So let's go back for a sec. So let's see. Not this one. So what was I up to? So now, let's see. It says, what setting boundaries involve? Let's start there. Self-awareness, reflecting on your own needs, values, and limits to understand what makes you comfortable or uncomfortable. Clear communication, articulating your boundaries clearly, assertively, using often "I" or "you" statements to express your feelings without placing blame. Action and reinforcement. Follow through with actions when boundaries are crossed. A boundary is only effective if it's something you can control. For example, you can't force someone to stop doing something, but you can choose to end the conversation or leave the situation. Respect and kindness. Boundaries are not about controlling others, but about managing your own needs. They can and should be set with mutual respect, even when they are difficult. Example of boundaries. Emotional. Deciding not to engage in arguments where you are being yelled at. That was the part I was up to. I don't know why I start there. So yeah, that's where the part I was at. Decide not to engage with arguments where you are being yelled at. So yes. So yes, I'm gonna start that first. So physical, stating a need for personal space or not wanting to be touched in a certain way. Time, time. I mean, time. Communicating that you are available after a certain hour to endure you have time for rest or family activities. Material, saying no to requests for resources you are not comfortable lending. Benefit of setting boundaries: greater greater self-confidence. You feel more in control of your own life and choices. Healthier relationships. It creates more equitable exchanges and fosters mutual respect. Reduce anxiety. It can decrease stress and the feeling of being overwhelmed by others' demands. More time and energy. You protect your resources so you can focus on what is important to you. So, so, yes. So, setting boundaries is when you stand up for yourself and explaining your needs or explaining how you feel. Well, no, explaining how the other person makes you feel. If the person makes you happy, then you said thank you for making me happy. Or if a person is making you feel some type of way, then you set boundaries. Because you can't let the other person walk over you or try to drain your good day, because it's not going to work that way. So setting boundaries is good. So setting expectation is different. It means setting goals for yourself and what tasks that you need to take to reach the goal. So let's talk about setting expectations. To set expectations means to communicate clearly and purposely about what is expected, such as desired outcome, timelines, or behaviors, to ensure clearly and align with others. It involves defining goals, specific results, and maintaining a mutual understanding of roles and responsibilities to avoid misunderstanding and achieve successful outcomes, whether in a professional or personal context. Key aspects of setting expectation: defining objective. Clearly state the goal of a task or project project and how it connects to larger goals. Establish measurable outcome. Create concrete indicators of progress to assess success objectively. Setting timelines. Specify deadlines and necessary milestones to ensure efficiently. Communicating roles. Clearly define who is responsible clearly define who is responsible for what to prevent confusion. So let's say you're at a workplace and the manager tells you what tasks you need to do. So the manager might tell you to stock up the merchandise. The they might tell you to work at the cashier, or they might tell you to do throwbacks. Like if you see an item that doesn't belong there, then you put it back in their actual item. Like all the cereals have to be put together, all the drinks have to be put together, all the cans have to be put together. Everything has to be put together. Everything has to be put together, no matter what merchandise it is. So, any job that they might tell you, even at home, parents might tell you this is your response. They might tell you to do chores, and said this is your responsibility. So, everybody has responsibilities So it's kind of like what is expected to be. So setting expectations means like what do you expect to be done? So that's what it's telling you. That's what I'm saying, like that's what it really is. Like what is expected to be done. So being specific. Use precise language rather than vague statements to avoid misinterpretation. Be realistic. Set achievable standards for yourself and others to help with personal growth and motivation. Adjusting as needed. Be prepared to modify expectations if circumstances change. So now, even though setting expectations is important because we want others to do what needs to be done or how it wants to be done and stuff like that. So, but you don't want to set expectation too much because they'll feel pressured. So let me see. So let's see what is the negative effect of setting so what is the negative effect of setting expectation? Setting expectations can negatively affect you through feelings of disappointment, frustration, and anxiety where those expectations are not met. It can strain relationship as unmet expectations can lead to conflict and it can hinder your well-being by creating pressure, reducing motivation, and distracting you from the present moment. Unrealistic expectation can lead to low self-esteem as well as a context sense of failure or or an oh god inadequacy. Let me see. This is like inadequacy. That's the word. Inadequacy, the state or quality of being inadequate, lack of the quality or the quality where let's see. Inadequacy is the state of not being enough or not being good enough, which can apply to physical things or abstract qualities like competent. It can refer to a shortage or a deficiency like deficiency and the supplies like inadequate equipment or feeling of being incompetent where a person feels they lack the necessary quantities or abilities. So we don't want to push them too much where they feel like pressured or overwhelmed. So so let's see. Quality. Oh, qualities or abilities. Pronounce this wrong. So let's see. Let's go back for a second. No. So let's see examples for setting expectations. So set expectations could be good or bad. So examples of setting expectations includes defining a regular workday schedule, start and end times, outlining performance standards like achieving a specific customer satisfaction score, and establishing clear communication protocols such as meeting response time, Other examples include specifying behavioral norms like respecting colleagues and being open to feedback, as well as setting expectations for remote workers regarding communication and availability. So that's what the examples are. So let's go back to setting boundaries because now setting expectations is when setting expectation is how would you expect to be done, or how do you want it to be done. That's what basically what it is. Or like between work and home. So work, so for example, at work they expect you to come in at a certain time between now and then. So they expect you to get the job done in a timely fashion. Same thing with at home. They expect you to do chores and get them done in a timely fashion. So that's what basically those examples are for setting expectations. Either in school, the teachers expect students to get their work done so that they can get a good grade. They expect them to pass all their classes and make sure their homework is done and their schoolwork and stuff like that. So that's examples. So that's another example of setting expectations. So so now let's see setting boundaries. So yes, for others. So let's see. So so to set boundaries, first identify your needs and then communicate them clearly and calmly without excessive apologies or justification. Start with small boundaries, and when they are crossed, have a follow up conversation or take action to enforce them. Remember that setting boundaries is an act of self care, and while it can be difficult, is essential for healthy relationships. So, now, identify your needs and limits. Number one, identify your needs and limits. Reflect on a relationship to understand what is important to you and what needs are not being met. Clarify your expectations and what you are and are not comfortable with. Recognize that you are responsible for your own needs, even if setting boundaries requires an action from others. Number two, communicate clearly and assertively. Be clear and direct. Use an I or you statements to explain your feelings and needs. Keep it simple and avoid over explaining or apologizing. Which shows you that phrases like no, I can't, or that won't work for me, or effective. Practice what you want to say beforehand to feel more confidence. It's okay to feel fear or shame, but remember that setting boundaries is a form of self respect. Number three, enforce your boundaries. If a boundary is crossed, have a follow up conversation to retaliate the boundary. You may need to take a step like turning off your phone after work hours if the boundary is with your boss. Be prepared for others to not agree with your boundaries. Your main responsibility is to uphold them for yourself, not to get approval. Understand that some people may react negativity. This can help you identify which relationships are not healthy and need to be re-evaluated. So now, if you set a boundary for the first time, they might listen or they might not listen to you. But if they overcross your boundaries, I'm a so if they overcross your boundaries, then you need to have a follow-up conversations with them and says, "Hey, you overcrossed my boundary." Each time I have, each time I set boundaries, you overcross them. Because it don't make sense to have overcross your boundaries. So let's say when someone when someone crosses your boundaries, you can state what happened using I or you statements like, "I felt hurt when you did that." So clearly and calmly explain that their behavior was a boundary violation. And you tell them why. Because the reason why their behavior was a boundary violation is because they did not respect your boundary and they didn't respect what you were saying, so they overcrossed it to make sure that to make sure that they only care about what they had to say and not care about what you had to say. So that's why I was saying, like, their behavior was a boundary violation. And what you need, and so you can tell them, like, what do you need instead. It's also important to be firm by stating a consequence for future violations, such as, "If this happens again, I will have to leave." What to say? State the behavior and its impact. "I need you to stop," or "I felt embarrassed when you made fun of my hair in front of our friends." Be direct and clear. "I told you not to do X, and you kept doing it. I am not going to be alone with you anymore." Direct what you need instead. "I would like you to desire behavior instead." How to enforce your boundaries. Be firm and consist. Boundaries need consequences to be effective. Don't just state them once, enforce them every time. Set clear consequences. State what you will do if the boundary is crossed again. For example, if this boundary isn't respected, I will need to limit our I will need to limit our contact. Remain calm. It can be helpful to take a moment to regulate your nervous system before responding. You don't have to apologize for setting a boundary. Enforce the consequences. This could mean ending a conversation, leaving a room, or disengaging from the interaction. So so now so now this is how you respond to a person if they cross your boundaries. So so now this here tells that they have violate your boundaries and how to respond to it. So once you say something once, not to do something, then they should listen the first time. Not overstep your boundaries and think they can just do what they want when they want to. So, at least setting boundaries, they need to listen to the boundaries that you're setting and not cross them. So I hope this video helps you. So I hope you like, subscribe, and comment down below on my YouTube video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a good day, everyone.